are you?
I'm good. Hey, everybody. It is time for the Danny Kadota Show. We got a great show because we got TJ from the El Dorado right here. We got Will also from the El Dorado. And, of course, Captain Danny Kadota. Before I run off, I'll remind you all that tonight at 6, we're live with the Tackle Shop Confession Show. Really looking forward to that. These gentlemen will entertain all your questions. They'll talk about how the El Dorado's coming along, what's going on. Danny, of course, always has pearls of wisdom for you all. So without further ado, I think I'm going to get out of your way and let you guys take over. How's that
No
sound?
problem. Phil, thanks.
You know, and,
Thanks, boys.
and you know, in fact, Phil, probably they're going to be taking over because everything you're talking about doing boat work. Every time I think about boat work, I get the shakes. You know,
Why
brings
is that?
brings back those memories. You know,
Itchy and scratchy.
Yeah. Oh, geez, the glass and oh my God, unbelievable.
That's why it pays to be high on the totem pole. 'Cause you just point now and go, okay, I'll be back, and you leave.
Oh my God. You know, it's funny because every morning now I'm up at the school up at San Pedro High, and every couple days a week I see Frank Redlew. And
Yeah.
we all know
Yeah.
Frank. I mean, if it weren't for Frank being around, he'd coming down in the middle of the night, saving our behinds all the time. It's unbelievable. I see him. His grandsons all said he's probably an all-state wide receiver that's going to go very high. You know, plus a 4.3 GPA.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Good
Phenomenal kid. He's the greatest kid. You know, Elias.
With a 2.6.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait,
Just
Will,
make
you're
it.
on mic, so you're going to talk up a little bit.
Oh,
I
yeah,
have a
yeah,
mic.
cool.
You're on Danny's
Yeah,
mic.
Mike?
I'm on Danny's mic.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, where
We
are
gotta
we?
be friends.
There we
There
go,
you
right
go.
there,
There
here.
you go.
How's
Yeah,
that?
that's right there.
Cool.
It'll pick you up.
All right.
Yeah, so anyway, boat work is the deal. And, you know, I got a funny story to start it off for boat work, okay? It has to do with Frank Redlew, okay? And I don't know a man more knowledgeable than Frank about everything in the marine industry, you know. But we had a soft spot on the Mustang, and so I was going to patch it. So, you know, I'm thinking about maybe a 3x3 deal. So I run down to Marine Hardware, and I'm picking up all this stuff. I come back, and Freddie Ichikawa and Frank Redlew had these ripping bars. They were from the bait tank all the way to the bow, and I looked and I just go, we ended up doing the whole deck.
Yep.
But I got to tell you something, and once again, because of Frank's idea, we crossed it. We did, you know, and Frank's building ability and knowledge is, nobody has that knowledge, man, you know, over the years. That deck's still on the Mustang.
Yeah, I believe it.
It's unbelievable. But I mean, it was layered, it was done. It took a couple days. He got us a 55-gallon of casting resin, which we're doing at wintertime. You know how cool it is at night.
Yep.
Didn't matter. The thing went off in, I think it was 8 minutes or something like that. And like I say, that deck since that day, and that was probably in the late 70s or something like that, early 80s. It's still on there.
Yeah, yeah.
That original.
Yeah, he passed his
on
knowledge
Mike.
down to his son, Mike.
Oh, Mike was
Mike
great.
taught me.
Yep.
And the deck we opened up right now, because like I said, we had to pull fuel tanks this year, and we had to use a jack out of the car. We had to use a jack out of the car on top of the fuel tank to get the deck to come off. After we cut the glass, we still couldn't get it to come off.
Unbelievable, yeah. Yeah, when it's done right, it's unbelievable.
Yes.
It has, we're just blessed being around the guys that have that kind of knowledge,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
So I'm so
yeah.
glad we have Will on the show to play on his phone during the entire
I was
interview.
turning my
Fantastic.
ringer down. I was turning the ringer down. I was hearing the notifications go off. Sorry.
He thinks he's on the boat,
sweat.
you know?
So, sorry. I had
Not a problem.
notifications. My bad. Oh,
Not a problem.
So give us an update on the Eldo. When are you going to start running? What's up?
So we're coming out of our maintenance. We're hoping to be online March the 12th. We've got a 2-day sea bass, kind of whatever's going to bite type trip going on. We've got a handful of reservations, so we're getting ready for that. Pretty intensive boatyard this year. We pulled fuel tanks. We had to do some refastening of the hull. You know, we ended up getting into it. We found a little bit of a problem. Coast Guard came through, decided that we should get a little bit more work done. So we did what they required, and we're buttoning it up now, and it's starting to come together and looking really good. So we're hoping to have a really good season.
That's awesome. You know, the plank boats, it's unbelievable how tough they are.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and what they can go through, you know.
Yep.
And yeah, between, you know, that and the sister ships, you know, our old boat, the Cherokee, was a sister ship. It was built at the same time. But it had the flare going out rather than
Yeah,
where
they
the
cut
elder
back
was
in,
at.
yep.
Yeah. But yeah, they're unbelievable, and they fish great.
Yes, they do.
You know, they're fast.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of huge attributes to that hull. Yeah.
All right, you got a bunch of guys. Jeff Yeoman says hi to everybody. Alex Alcaraz wants to send his best to you guys. Andrew Blout. Hi, TJ. Do you know Andrew?
I know Andrew.
Perfect.
Good
He's
afternoon.
watching. He's
Good
watching
afternoon,
you guys
Andrew.
right now. So go on, man. What's up? How's the season looking to you guys? What do you think? What's
Me, hey. So he's the maintenance guy. I kind of.
Oh, you're telling us he's not a good fisherman.
Oh, he's a great
He's a big maintenance guy, huh?
That's
Well,
me.
there's nothing going on right now but maintenance. But I know, like the beginning of mid-March, we're online to go fish. Do the whitefish, sheephead, nick trips, get out shallow water fish. And we can't keep rockfish, but we can get off the dock and go catch some things. We're hoping people are tired of sitting at home and want to go fishing. There's
I am.
there's no, yeah, I'm tired of it too. But I mean, that's we had a good fall there, December. We had a lot of nice shallow water fish. We explored
Deep
a little
water.
bit, deep water
water.
too. But we
Deep
caught
water
fish.
into the year.
Yeah, we caught our shallow fish up, whitefish, sheephead in the morning, and went out and caught nice reds and stuff like that, and quality fish in the mid morning, and finished off the day out deep and went home and did good. We found some new spots, some new areas, and kind of looking forward to getting back out there and going back at it again. It's more fun. We only had like an hour and a half, 2 hours fish whitefish and sheephead in the morning, and there's some spots we had where we had 300 whitefish up to like 9 pounds. We're all 3 to
Oh, those are slugs.
3 to 9
Yeah,
pounds.
it was good fishing.
We'd find a spot, and we're on 2 sheephead apiece, and at 7 o'clock we're like, okay, we're done. We've been fishing an hour. Wind them up. We got to move, and they're all anywhere from 5 to 18-pound fish.
Wow.
So I mean,
Yeah,
it's
nice.
we found some little nooks and crannies, and hopped around, and when it was good, it was good, and it made us look around and try to find some zones, and it was we want to get out there and go do it again. So it's not just drifting around; it's spot fishing in less than 100 feet of water, 120 feet of water, and good stuff.
All right. Hey, Alex has a question. I hope they can hear me, but that's why I'm yelling, okay? I'm not mad at you guys. Quick question. Not sure if you guys know. I'm wondering if you guys know about the new 95J CalStar rods. Do you know the difference between the three? Not sure which one to get at the show. Alex, we will answer that question if these guys can on Tackle Shop Confessions. Re-ask that question to Sam. Do you guys know?
So I know the 95 is it's in between the 90 and the 100. So I would probably guess.
Wait a minute. 95 is
I
between
know. I'm guessing. So I'm guessing it's probably
100
got.
and 90?
I'm guessing.
So 9.5 feet?
9.5 feet. It's probably got the same action as a T100,
Yeah.
just cut down a little bit. And honestly, it all depends on the person fishing the rod. If they're comfortable fishing a 9-footer, they want a longer rod. I mean, if you're not used to fishing a 9-foot rod, a 9.5-foot rod is going to kick your butt. It's all in what you choose to pick. Everybody's different on a jig rod. I mean, you just can't pick up a rod and go, yep, that's the one I want to use, because it may not work for you. So it's you have to. I would try all three and see which ones you think feel the best to you, because I can't say what's going to work with you. If you're a 5'7" guy, a T100 is a big rod. That's probably longer than you need. There's a lot of guys that just they don't need it, and if you get out of leverage with that rod, it's gonna let you know, and you're not gonna like it. It's gonna hurt.
You're trying to rub it in on Danny, right?
No,
5'7".
I'm not.
You're talking about a giant.
Yeah, you're talking to Billy Barty here. Come
It all
on.
depends on how you pull on it. It's leverage. I like
Now,
the T100.
I'll tell you what, to me, is more important. You know the composition? Is it a glass? Is it a composite? Straight graphite?
Yeah,
you know?
you got to see what it is.
Oh, we don't know yet?
Yeah.
We don't know?
I personally don't know. I'm going to the PCS show. I'm going to go check them out while I'm there.
Yeah.
Like I say, I've been head down and doing maintenance. I saw that they came out.
Right.
I saw the social media posts on them, but I don't know anything about them as of right now.
I mean, if you want a true jig rod, I'd go with a fiberglass rod.
See, I'm the opposite. Man, I fish straight graphite. It'll outcast. It out recoils. But your timing, everything's totally different.
Yes.
Everything's totally different.
So
You got to
it
load
is.
it different, but the distance and to me it's the recovery, because the recoil, you put a fish on much quicker that way, But yeah, that's why I left the CalStar days to go to the Loomis, and we got into graphites, and ever since then I've been fishing straight graphites. And Phil could tell you, even these small, I have like a 30-pound light graphite that were, that you fish bait for yellowtail or whatever it might be. But we're pulling all those tuna at Cortez with that stuff, and it was all the 60 to 100-pound type units. But the recovery, you can't pick it up as fast with the glass, the way the recoil is so much slower, because it's recovering its own weight before it could do any lifting. That's why graphite, that you start running analogies is why we're using graphite and jets and stuff like that. Strength of weight. Yeah, I get it. I
still love the soft rod with braid, because especially if I hand a rod off, I want someone that's not going to pull a hook. They can't pull a hook on the fiberglass rod, and TJ just laughs at the rod I handed off and asks me, why do you hate the passengers? And it's
Ouch!
It's an old 278 bait stick. It's great. But you don't lose very many on it. I mean, you hook them, they're staying hooked.
I'll walk out of the wheelhouse and I'll look over and he goes, "Here, who needs a fish?" And he hands it up. I'm like, "Why do you hate our passengers?"
But they come on board.
But they catch the fish. I will give them that. They do catch the fish.
They keep them busy for a while.
Yes.
Alex wants to know, with regard to the 95J materials, what kind of materials that made out of, and he says thanks for all your great answers here today.
Yeah, like I said, I've had my head down doing maintenance. I'm not too sure about any of it just yet.
I just learned you're only a maintenance guy.
That's
here,
it. I'm the maintenance guy.
Just a maintenance. He's a chief fisherman too.
Chief bottle washer, bilge scrubber.
You have to be.
Yes, sir.
That's part of the job.
Sir, yes, sir.
Well,
It's
it's
the job
he's doing all that.
description.
He is in charge, so I kind of take a little hiatus when they do boat maintenance. I go to doing stainless work with another guy, so I don't have as much input on what's going on the boat.
He makes it easy on me for not having to worry about keeping him employed while the boat's not running.
Rocket Dog says, "Hey guys, nothing like hearing these great fishing stories." He's really enjoying it. I think he had a little problem with the text. I think that's what you wanted to say, Rocket Dog, for sure. Let me ask the three of you guys to address this question. How many times have you been fishing a place for 10 years, 20 years, Nicholas, and you actually find a new rock, a new fishing area? Does that happen every 5 years, every 10 years? Never. Do you ever run across something and go, "Oh man, this is somewhere where no one would be looking, and this looks frickin' juicy"?
Well, I don't know if there's a spot that you would say no one's been looking, because everybody covers it. I know this past winter when we were out there, we found some spots that we have not fished before. We found some areas that were loaded up pretty good with, like he said, the whitefish and the sheephead. I found a couple spots up the middle of the island, a couple little nuggets that produced some pretty good lingcod for myself. Some really good calico bass fishing, which, I haven't really done a lot of calico bass fishing at Nick, because anytime I'm out there, it's either the exotics on the east or my rock fishing up to the west. So I've never really got to explore, but the fishing we did this winter, because of the way it's structured now with the new regs, it allowed us a chance to look at other areas. And we found a lot of stuff that we're really curious and want to go back. And we're looking forward to this upcoming, like I say, March 12th, we're going to start running. If we don't get out there, April 1st, we're on our run out to Nick. So we'll be checking out those spots that we found this past winter.
TJ, you should tell everybody where you run out of and the website and all that.
Yeah,
right?
so it's El Dorado Sportfishing. We run out of Long Beach Sportfishing over at Berth 55 in Long Beach. We're the open party overnight boat. You can get us online at longbeachsportfishing.org. .org or eldoradosportfishing.com. Social media, Instagram, El Dorado Sportfishing, and Facebook, El Dorado Sportfishing as well. Both of them have links to our websites, so you can make reservations there as well. We're also going to be at the PCS show doing discounts this year. Come by, see us. We're handing out coupons and stuff. You can purchase discount tickets right there at the show. So we'll be taking care of everybody and offering some deals and selling our swag, and hopefully get our up and running season here. So,
all right, Richie Rich says, hit that like button, please do. Danny, you remember finding any cool new areas like you're at an
Oh.
island or something?
absolutely.
Or, yeah?
Absolutely.
It's
I mean,
gotta be
you know what?
exciting, right?
It was. What was really cool was, George, the new hustler here, was the first one to put on the scanning sonars, right?
Game changer.
George, and he was my code boat, so we put one on the Mustang, and having that ability to scan and look rather than look straight up and down
Find out
made a
kind of
huge.
nicks and
Yeah, it
crannies
did.
and-
Yep, it did.
It helps you anchor the boat and get right where you want to be because you know
You could
right where you want that
exactly.
thing to be.
You learn a lot more, and I
Yes.
mean, we dealt with real tough, great skippers down in San Diego, but you can't compete without the technology.
Yeah.
The technology. We went down there. We were able to go down there and smoke them. You know, so guaranteed. That next year, I can't even tell you how many units went on all the boats. They had to.
remember.
Oh, yeah.
You had to compete
Yeah, you
because
had-
otherwise you
I
couldn't stay
remember.
with it.
It's just like when
It was
we're.
straight up and down, and then it went to everybody had the West Mars.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know,
I
you
mean,
don't
it's just
tell
like
them.
when you're running from location to location. A lot of people think we're just hauling butt to go to the next spot, but that's not true. We've actually got the sonar on, and we're scanning and checking. You never know if you're going to run across a school as you're heading up the island, or find a nugget that's got something on it.
That's
that,
right.
Hey, let's turn a circle here and throw some bait. And so you're always working. Even the boat's traveling, you're always working. So
It's pretty amazing the technology involved because even though we got into the scanners, the color, the West Mars first. I talked to my brother now, and they got some stuff on the Outer Limits they use for the research and stuff. I can't even believe it because he tells me, in the old days, get on the 60, we'd get on the high spot, dump the anchor, and go, oh, just hang on, man. He's telling me there's a canyon that they straddle,
yep.
and if you can get, you got like a highway, a fish highway there. So if you're locked up on the alpha position, you get that position alpha, you do some serious fish culling. So it's about technology that helps
Oh,
us.
yeah.
That we've learned a lot from over the years. So
It's not always bad.
no, it's good stuff. It's good stuff for us.
People
yeah.
that don't like the new technology, or it helps. It makes it that much easier for us to do our job. I mean, we still depend on what we learn, but it helps us be more efficient and break down a spot quicker and get the clientele on the fish a lot faster.
Absolutely, that's the thing. I mean, we're constrained by time, right?
Yes.
We only
Oh,
got so many
sometimes.
hours in a day. If you're on a day trip or day and
Depends
a
on
half,
where you're at too.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure you
So it's
remember
huge.
this, but I'm curious. Did you do Loran C
I
and the
remember that.
paper graph?
I was a
I didn't do
deckhand.
the-
How
I
about
didn't do the
Loran
paper
A?
graph.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
I-
Loran A was
doing
before
Loran
that.
C.
Yeah,
I remember
Loran
Loran
A.
C because I had to do wheel watches and they'd tell me to stay on this line and you had to chart yourself every 20, 30 minutes to figure out where you were to make sure you weren't drifting off.
I have a vague memory of that you had to line two things up or something. What was
Loran A had a single
Yeah.
line. The C gave you a cross bearing.
Okay. and
So
it
you
gave-
knew pretty much exactly where you were.
Yeah.
With Loran C. But the A, when we had the A, you had to extrapolate and you look on the charts and go, okay, where are we?
Damn, I thought I was old with that Loran
No,
C.
I can remember the flashers too.
Oh yeah, I do too.
Fish on a flash.
Oh yeah, that's how we started. That's how I started in high school. with the Lowrance box. Lowrance box. That's it.
How did you read the flasher exactly?
You would see. Well, you have a bottom mark in it, your hard bottom line.
Yeah.
Right. You have the bottom line, and any flash you see above it. Now it didn't stay on, like the CRTs, like we got on our computer. On the sonars, it'll stay up till it sweeps back over it. Yeah. So you'd have to really pay attention because you'd see it. But it was crude, but that was at the time that was state of the art. And that what was it? Early '70s, maybe something like that. In the '70s when we were.
Don't look at me.
That was on the little boat when I lived in Oklahoma. We had a flasher, and that's what I freshwater fished with, and figured out the bottom and humps and stuff like that. And looking at the little line that went around. How deep of water I was
Yep.
in, and
You
where to
know,
drop the anchor and
made
what to
it-
fish for.
made it cool was because of the saltwater captains that bass fished on their days off. I think that helped drive a lot of it because you had your Sansom brothers, the Ray Monteros, Taka, us, Buzzy. I mean, you name it. There are a ton of guys, but I mean, it was so competitive. But implementing the technology from electronics on the lakes too changed the scene for what happened on the lakes too.
Oh, yeah.
Because we had a little edge. Most of these guys had no idea there was current on these lakes, and so we picked our spots by which way the current was going, and so it was bringing the saltwater technology we had on the ocean onto the lakes that gave us an edge. So that was huge.
That would be our Orange County Fishing Club Angler of the Year.
That'd be me.
That'd be
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Busted my butt all last year. Thanks to this guy let me get off the boat and go chase things. Go chase
There you
little
go.
green fish.
Oh, that was a fun deal.
It was fun. Worked hard.
Absolutely. I don't think I could do that anymore.
What?
I go
chase little green
Chase,
bass?
no, I'll sit back. I'll be I'll pay a guide now to do it. I'm not even going to haul a boat up. Those days are gone. And it's changed, right?
It's changed.
All the
Well, it's just-
restrictions and everything.
Well, that it's like, okay. It's no different. You have like freshwater fishing now. You have all the modern electronics that everyone. It's like now instead of we have sonar. We have live sonar pictures that we look at. Okay, well now they have forward-facing sonar that gives a picture. And of course, saltwater fishing, we've been using it forever. I picked up my forward-facing 2021, and so many people just don't understand it and want to ban it and or bash it, and it's cheating. And it's not cheating. It's understanding what you're looking at and breaking it down and being more efficient. You still got to get those little irritating things to bite.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter
it's
how
not
bad
guaranteed.
I can stop on school after school after school with bluefin, and we all know it doesn't matter if you find them, if they're foaming around the boat eating. Putting a hook in one's a whole nother story. You can stop on 30 schools in one day and you finally find the one that wants to chew and you catch them, but you're not going to catch every one that you find with sonar. They don't bite.
And it's funny. I'll watch some of these shows now. This is years later, and I'm watching all the tournament guys, right? The big tournament guys in the country, and I'm watching them, and they're floating around. You got wind, current, and really, without holding constant, you don't know which way the current's going.
No,
So, how do you approach them?
they're they're good
So
at what
when
they
you
do.
when you set up on these spots, and we did it with 2 anchors, you're fixed, and you see the current moving a certain way, and you know that it's conducive on a particular spot with the current going uphill or downhill, But it takes time. It's just fishing a lot and getting that local knowledge and understanding that to put together a consistent game plan, especially if you're looking for trophy fish. I'd say there's a certain element of it of luck, but there's a lot of consistency to
I don't think you had the many
some of them.
boats as we do now back then either.
No.
No, probably not.
I mean,
probably not. But
I've seen some local lakes like El Cap down there in San Diego, San V. It fishes hard when there's 30 boats on that lake, let alone 85 to 100 boats, and the lake's not that big.
yeah.
But they're like, oh, you want to go? I'm like, no, I don't want to go fishing those days.
See,
Might as well go fish on the Horseshoe Kelp.
the guys
There's
going.
sand bass days or the Huntington Flats with the sandies and everybody stacked up on top. No, I don't want to do that. That's not fun. It's
Oh, it's so competitive.
Not on a
and
road.
I didn't like San Diego because you had to deal with the Sansom brothers, Ray Montera, Buzzy. I mean, all these guys that fished on their days off, and they're the home crowd. They've got the
good.
local knowledge. They had what we had at Casitas and Castaic. So you had to make sure that your boat. I mean, it's a funny scene. You guys I'm sure you guys do it, but my partners, when they dumped me in the water, they didn't walk down to the ramp. They ran down to the ramp, and I had it fired up, and I hit it, and we're gone. So nobody and we're always the first one on line. That was the other
yeah.
thing, right? Position alpha.
so
you
get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to go wait in line to get in the lake that doesn't open until 6 o'clock because you want to be first in
That's
line.
right.
So
That was it.
you're ready to go. And
I get
you're
my
out
spot.
and away.
If they don't bite on it, then I can make another move. But
But yeah, you want to.
We're fishing- when you're fishing
where you
enough.
start is where you want to be.
Exactly.
It's no different than us overnight fishing. When
That's
we
right.
got to get to the Tanner to anchor up where we need to be in our alpha position where we think we're going to be needing to sit. We got to go.
that's exactly it.
There's
no difference.
putting out there. Just we got to go. We'll get set up and hang out and wait till daylight.
Lock
We
it
gotta
up.
Go.
Lock up the spot.
Yeah. And we go.
Yep. No, that's important.
We go.
And people don't realize that analogy on the lakes is exactly the same, especially if you're competing with a lot of guys that are sharp, sharp fishermen
It's
too.
no different than overnight fishing. We're competing.
Oh yeah,
We're competing against
absolutely.
other landing boats to get there, and if you're not on the alpha spot or the spot that's the right one, we've been the ones that everybody's watched, and we've also been the ones watching everybody else because we just missed.
Yeah.
We set up a way that we thought it was going to be good, and the current switched, and it wasn't good.
That's
we
it.
missed by, and it's not missing by a bunch. It's missing by 50 yards.
Yeah,
30
exactly.
yards.
Just the swing.
Yeah,
The swing could
just
kill you.
out of
Yeah,
now you're out of
there.
position.
Yep.
There's nothing you can do about it. You're just
Yep. You're not resetting. You're just.
no. You're hoping they swing by. You get a little piece of it.
Yep. You're turning the rudder and blowing. Go. Move.
See, what I liked on the bass boats, when you're double anchored, you're pretty well locked down, But on the lakes that we fished a lot, like Casitas and Cascade, the current was pretty consistent the way it was going. So to set up on it with respect to the current, we pretty much had it
Now
locked
they got
up.
all the spot lock trolling motors and everything
Yeah.
else, and you just sit out into the wind or whatever.
I had 2 anchors on each side. We started out with a
4-point spread.
We had a 25 and a 15 at one time on one side, and I go, oh man, forget this, it's killing me. So I got them to hold with a 15 and a 10, you bring the other anchor up about 4 or 5 feet, so that would really hang you good. But it was just you could sit there. By the time we pulled the anchors tight, you could pluck my lines, and we use Samson braid. You could pluck them. It was like a banjo. It was so tight, but we're locked into a spot. We're dead on, and I put it dead smack in the middle of the boat, so
Nobody could get to
my partners can. Yeah, well, and so my partners have the same, shot at the fish, right? I don't know if you remember Herb Curley, and he's one of the old legends back around here a long time. We used to fish crawdad fisherman, but he was a captain, back in the days. Herb he was a fish killer, but he would take all his bass to Chinatown, and he would sell them for the steamed fish, and the Chinese restaurants loved it, But Herb, he was awesome, but he was one of those early guys that we learned from him, a long time ago. We'd watch him from the box. He knew we were on the lake. He wouldn't fish spots. There are certain spots he wouldn't look. This is long before we had the meters where we started to figure everything out ourselves. But it was amazing. It was we had a lot of guys ahead of us that were the predecessors and the guys that really started a lot of that. Taka, he grew up with Herb and a lot of those guys, so it was fun. And I fished with Taka, but the amount that we learned, what a great, it was a learning experience every time we went out there.
Yeah.
Been down there bass fishing.
Yeah. He tournament fish, doesn't he?
Yes.
He tournament fishes down there.
I can't think of his name off the top of my head. It has the Liberty.
Taro?
Taro bass.
He's
fishes.
another good fisherman. Yeah.
So I've run into both of those guys down at the lakes down there. So it's,
Awesome. Yeah. Well, that's sprung off. That's a different generation. That's a generation
it's
under
funny
us.
just
Yeah,
I
it's so
said,
cool.
I mean, I'm gonna have to swing TJ to the dark side of freshwater fishing.
Yeah, you'll
Get
mess
him
him up.
involved, and
You'll
he'll be
mess him
like,
up.
all right, let's go
He'll
fishing.
get into that. He'll get into it. Most of us have.
It's addictive.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
fun.
Then we're gonna have a problem.
Why? Because
Nobody's gonna run.
Who's gonna run the boat?
Yeah, that's what got me off the boat.
Butch. There you go.
he's Team Alpha. Remember,
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah.
we'll have Butch run the boat. Yeah. We'll look
Wow.
at whales,
That's so cool.
lighthouses. We'll just have to take alternating weekends off. I'll get to run the boat more then. And Abby love going fishing too.
Who?
Your daughter, she'll go fishing.
No, she's working now. She ain't got any time.
Yeah, but
Does she pull anchors?
She can.
Oh, then that works.
She can.
She gets out there.
She'd run circles around the 3 guys that are working for me right now.
She would.
Oh my God.
But they're
She doesn't have her nickname the Admiral for no reason. So
There you
good
go.
guys. They're ours.
That's awesome.
they're ours.
Seriously, you want to do that?
We don't get upset about it. They're ours.
No, it works. Not sure why, but it works.
On Saturday.
That's what counts. That's what counts.
No, and the
My
people
God.
like them.
I'll be gone all next week.
That's,
that-
that's the biggest thing right there is passengers or customers like them. They all know their personalities. They all know what they're getting into when they come to the boat, and they enjoy it. They know what they're getting into. So
My hat's off to you guys, because when I ran boats, we didn't have the night bites and stuff like you guys have been dealing with on the bluefin and stuff. Where I don't know how you and the crew do it, because I mean, even as I go out as a passenger,
it's not easy.
it's brutal. Even as a passenger now, for those
it's
hours.
nice when you have two guys that can fish the boat and will let the other one sleep. So it's a breakdown, and there's no more. The day of the bus driver is almost over.
Yeah.
There's no bus driving. Rock fishing, you can bus drive, but if we're fishing tuna or we're fishing yellows in the dark or anything like that, you gotta have two guys that can fish.
Yeah.
That are willing to put in the time and go look. And we run 3 crew, we run 3 deckhands, so there's always one deckhand up. If we need somebody else up, we'll get them up, and we just kind of make it work.
Yeah, if you go bendo, you
But a lot of times the night
get
bite's
everybody
the
up,
night
right?
bite, and it bites really good, and it doesn't bite for a little while, so it lets that other guy, if he's smart, go back to bed and get a little bit of rest.
Yeah,
You
it's
just
amazing.
have to cycle.
My hat's off to you guys. I'll tell you, that's brutal. I don't know that we would have survived. We probably would have made it all right, but I mean, it's a whole different ballgame fishing day and night. Like
Yeah.
that,
Oh no, it is.
And
It is.
like I said, my hat's off to all the crew members. Yeah, and as you passengers see, do me a favor, take care of those guys when you hit the dock, because they do work their butts off, and it's unbelievable what they put into it. And they do it because they love it. It's not for the money so much.
No,
they
not for the
love fishing like we all love fishing, and they're doing that for you guys. So make sure you take it back and take care of the guys. That's one thing I'll tell you. And I'm on the passenger side now. That's me at the dock, and I could appreciate it over the years, because I literally got to sleep once we kicked it for home. But the way it runs nowadays, you guys are working around the clock. So my hat's off to you. And so people, it's worth it to take care of your crew. These guys they'll make and break your day. So, take care of them.
Long days are long days.
Yep.
Chris Rink says hello. He's from Colder Ice. He'll be at the PCS show. Also, Matthew Martin. Hey guys, great show with today's guest and all the years of experience. No kidding, man. Thousands of years here on the water. What's everyone's favorite month to fish Catalina or San Clemente Island? Thank you so much. Thank you, Matthew. Go ahead. Anybody want to chime in on
My
that?
favorite month is the month the fish are biting.
It's a good month.
Yeah, that's a good month.
It's always a good month.
I mean, back in the day, I used to look forward to the January, February, and March fishing Clemente for the wintertime bass.
That was fun.
A lot of fun, growing up as a young kid and even as a young captain. But that's a lost art now. We don't have the groups anymore that just want to go out and kill calico bass, and and more so with the new regulations and the size variation and the knowledge of the breeders and the spawners and the size. The people don't want to catch 14 to 16 inch bass because they want them to breed. So to get people to target to go do that type of fishing, it's been really hard. But that's what I used to enjoy, was the trips even on the Mustang as a young deckhand, being out there, catching limits of calico bass, pulling hard on the weeds, always fun for me.
Oh yeah.
I liked it back in the day when we used to have May, and we'd all bomb over to Catalina, make our tanks of squid, and haul butt to the front side of Clemente, fish for 3 hours and go home with like 130 to 150 yellows for 40 to 50 guys. Back in the day, it was just
White rock,
white rock,
Persane, Little Flower.
The nine.
But, I mean,
Yep.
nowadays it depends. If you can, this year July was really good at Clemente. We had some good yellow fishing. There was some big tuna that came down the front right there, on that 30 fathom curve.
Yeah,
That's unreal.
yeah, that was the surprise. You're out there fishing
so
for
cool.
yellows, and all of a sudden,
So I mean, but I mean, if the sea bass showed up, April was always good. April, May was always good at Catalina. That was always the best time it seemed to go catch a sea bass was, April, May. We were pretty much at Catalina, and then June, July we kind of scooted over to Clemente, and then by August we were offshore fishing. Bounced back in September to the Clemente or Catalina for the yellows and the banks, and then October was back offshore. It was just we bounced around a lot, but it changed a lot in the last few,
Yeah, the
say
last
6
few
to 10
years.
years has
Yeah.
been a big change in the.
You can't put your
seasons.
thumb down and say, hell,
No.
this is the month you should be there, because it's changing. I mean, every year is different. The fishing's been good, but it's been between the yellows at the island to the bluefin offshore to the yellows on the bank, over the last couple of years. The bank fishing's been outstanding, but to actually target down to say, hey, this is the month or that's the month you should go, it's a crapshoot. It's just been a crapshoot as to where you're going to be and what you're going to be doing.
Man, I look at the time that you guys are putting in now on those trips. It's unbelievable because some of, my day was done. If we were going outside, we're done. You're kicking it for home 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock,
Yeah,
depending on
yeah.
how far down and outside you are, and now you guys, with the day and a half and stuff, it's brutal.
Well,
That's
like a
that's
day
still
and a half. A day and a
super
half
long
used to
day.
be fish till dark and then go home. And now a day and a half is fish till dark. Okay, rig up your knife jigs. We're
Yeah.
going to go fish
Till
Get
midnight.
ready.
till midnight, 1
Yeah.
o'clock, because we're only 40, 50 miles away. And
then we're going home.
then we're going to go home. And, and that makes it even worse because, like I say, we've already caught our daytime fish. Now we're going to go catch nighttime fish. And then we got to process all that before we get to the dock in the morning. And,
That
so
is
yeah,
brutal.
it makes some long hours for everybody involved.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Calico Chris says Danny is sharp as a whip. Richie Rich says I was just talking to my wife the other day about how fishermen will go to a restaurant, lay a huge tip down, and then they skimp out on the crew that works so hard to put them on a fish. Might have something to do with that mini skirt that cocktail waitress is wearing, but yes, he's right, man. You got to tip your crew. Take good care of them. You guys know a guy named Sam De La Torre?
Yes.
From Island Fishing Tqckle, Sam's joining us. He said, hey, we got a great trip on board the El Dorado, and we would love it if you join us. It is on April 12th, fishing April 13th. It's a Sunday trip. That sounds like a great one, you guys.
Yeah,
There you
yeah.
go.
Most likely
There
it's
you
going to
go.
be a San Nicolas Island trip, unless something changes with what the fishing's going to be. But
Or the weather.
or the weather, yeah. But at this point, we're it's one of our sponsored trips with Island Tqckle, and we're taking reservations now at longbeachsportfishing.org, and we'd love to have you guys on board. So it's going to be a good trip. Sam always produces a good quality trip when we've gone out. So.
Sam's a great guy.
Oh,
We're going to
yeah.
be live with him
That's
in another
right,
hour.
Lowell.
Just
That's
another
right.
hour or
That's
so.
right.
So we're going to run over there and do that. Is fishing better today, 2025, than when you first started in the business? Each one of you guys could take that.
Well, you guys better take the now because mine goes it goes back a ways.
I think there's more pressure out there now than there was back in the day. So I think we took a lot for granted back in the day. The barracuda, the bass, the bonita. That we didn't. And you look at it now, we can't go out to Catalina and catch 300 barracuda. They're just not there. I mean, it's just. I think the fishing's just switched. But back in the day, we didn't catch 100 to 200 pound bluefin either on an overnight trip. So I think it's progressed now where you have that opportunity for a big fish and different varieties than we had back when I started. A yellowtail was a big deal. You caught a lot of barracuda, big bonita, bass. You're fishing overnight. You're catching bass, bonita, barracuda, and the occasional yellows. Now it's fishing overnight trip. You can catch anything from a calico bass to a 250, 300 pound bluefin. So you never know. It's just it's changing. It's ever evolving.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. TJ, Will brought up 300 barracuda at Catalina, like we used to do all the time.
Absolutely.
If you had your choice between bluefin and 300 barracuda every day going to Catalina, I think that sounds like it's going to be an easy answer for the average angler out there. You're going to for sure say bluefin. You may not, though.
I would honestly say barracuda, because I'm in the philosophy of I want everybody to catch a fish.
Yes.
Bluefin, when they first showed up on the banks and we were running to the banks, we went out. I remember this trip vividly. We ran out there. We were out on the Tanner. We anchored up. We hooked 2 bluefin. We drug anchor. We lost one. We fought the one fish for 2.5 hours. We drug off the bank. We were miles away from the fleet. Guy busted that one off. We ran back up onto the bank, got reset. We hung 2 more fish. The one guy that was on the fish hooked another one. We drove off the bank. We lost that one. the day was over. We hooked 4 fish total. We caught 0, and we had to go home. You know, and I mean, the 4 people that hooked the fish, they were happy. The other 20 people on the boat, they were not happy. And it's like, say, a lot of times they were just standing around because we were off the bank, we were away from the fish. So to me, yes, catching a bluefin is a lot of fun. They are trophy fish and they make people really excited and really happy. But if I had to pick, I would pick the 300 barracuda because I want everybody to go home with something in their bags.
I had a feeling you were going to say that.
You know, I was going to
Fun
say
catch.
some of the things that best trips we ever had, we were fueling the boat. We're over at Yankovic, fueling the boat, got the radio on. You guys are killing the local guys. Peterson, the guys are killing the barracuda on the shoe.
Yeah.
So they just looked, they go, get them ready. So we're all tying on jigs, and it's just the crew, like Brian Kirihara, the Tanaka brothers, my brother, you know, all the boys. And we get out there, put the anchor down, and no bait, and we're just screaming and yelling like a bunch of little kids.
Oh, yeah.
Because,
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
and then
Yeah.
It's
raining
the
barracuda.
Whole, it's
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
the whole fun factor.
So, you know, I got to tell you, when you're a fisherman, you're a fisherman. And it doesn't matter, you know, it's that bite. But when they eat that surface iron like that,
so
No, there's
There's
nothing like it. There's
no,
nothing like it.
They're screaming and yelling.
The years I got to work on the XL, one of the funnest things I remember, you know, everybody goes down and they want to go long range fishing to catch tuna and yellowtail and everything like that. And we were fishing yellows outside Canoas, and we stopped on this spot, and you dropped your jig to the bottom, and you either got a yellowtail or it was 4 to 5 pound sand bass. And I've never seen so many people ecstatic to catch sand bass. And it was like we were all just like little kids, like, dude, check the sand bass. We're all holding. I mean, we were letting them go, but I mean, Justin's like, stop catching sand bass. I mean, they got their little rods out, their 20-pound rods and plastics, and catching sand bass and letting them go. They don't want to catch yellows. They're like, dude, this is like the old days catching sand bass on the flats. This is cool.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, it's just it brings you back when you get into that kind of fishing that you remember as a kid of going out and fishing.
that's right.
That kind of stuff. You know, it's no different. Yeah, catching a yellowtail on a surface iron is great. But when you can get like a 4 or 5 pound calico to come up and eat your surface iron, it's even more fun because you're like, oh my God, I got one. And yeah, then you throw it back in the water, but you had a great time. You know, I think I took you fishing calicos in the kelp with sardines. Yeah, we only caught 35 of them, but we probably went through 150 of them.
Yeah, it was fun.
And we weren't stopped, but we didn't stop them. We hooked them, but we lost them. But everybody was getting bit. Everybody was having a good time. You know, it's that simple fishing. It's not always exotics that get you to drive that pushes you to be a fisherman. And yeah, they're fun, but man, it's just that drug of being able to pull on something and it pull back. I mean, he sees me fishing whitefish and sheephead, and I'm like a little kid in the candy store, just like biting. He's just like
He gets mad at me because he leaves his little whitefish rod rigged up, and I go drop it in 300 feet of water, and
Yeah.
he comes out, what are you doing?
Yeah, my little Tranks 300 and a 6-ounce torpedo sinker, and he's dropping the thing down there in 350, 400. I'm like, dude, does it even have that much line?
It did. It did.
10
With the
minutes to
little
wind it
handle.
back on.
Oh yeah. It took forever to reel up, but I caught my fish.
That's so funny. You know, that question I just asked, though, I wonder if I asked that question to you guys when you were catching the 300 barracuda. In other words, I said, would you trade this for 100, 200, 50-pound bluefin on a fairly regular basis? You might have said yes, but then having gone through that, now you look back and you say, I'd be with the barracuda. I'm with you guys.
Well, back in the day, you know, when we were deckhands, yeah, we wanted to catch the yellowtail. We wanted we wanted those groups. We'd catch 150 yellows. And being a deckhand, yeah, you want the 150 yellowtail. You want the boat to keep running. You want to get out there because it puts more people on the boat. You get to run more. You get going. I mean, I can still remember the last time Clemente was good. It was in the dark in the cove and catching 2002, 2003?
Yep.
Catching 200 yellows in the dark between 3 o'clock and 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning.
And on your way home?
And then on my way home, and I was on the Tornado, and I remember Raymond going, "Come on, we're gonna go fish the front side for some calicos and blue perch." I'm like,
See ya.
"What the heck are we
I was on my
doing?"
way home.
He did that one day. It worked one day, and I'm like, the deckhands were like, "You realize we had an entire fish hole of these things we need to cut. Everybody's sleeping. They don't want to catch calico bass right now. They want to go home." So I mean, we tried it one day, but it was those kind of bites are great, but on a day in, day out basis, I think any of us that would run a boat would rather take somebody going out and catching, even 200 big bonita that are like 4 or 5 pounds and barracuda and bass biting, and have everybody out there having a good time, opposed to going out there and constantly trying to catch bluefin and catching
The big bluefin, the catchable bluefin, the 30 to 60 pound fish, if it was those that were biting, I would say we'd go for bluefin. But because the fact that we're not catching the 30 to 60s, we're catching the 90 to 200s, not everyone's going to catch them. And there's a lot of people that aren't set up properly. I mean, they're coming out and they're trying, but there's not a lot of people that can afford some of this tackle that you need to go catch these things. So when we do go out there, the people that are rigged up properly have no problem. The people that are not rigged up properly, they tend to be the ones that hook them and then have the fight of their life, and then, like I say, to me, I would much rather see everybody pulling on a fish and putting something in the bags and going home happy than the select few that get to pull on one, put one in the boat. So,
not last year, but the year before, that 25-pound bluefin that was biting on the inside was great. You go out there and catch limits of bluefin, everybody gets to pull on one or two. It's awesome. I mean, they all caught one. They're all happy.
That one you lost, though,
yeah.
that's going to send that guy to go see Sammy and go get a
outfit
specifically for that.
Absolutely.
And that's going to drive it. But it's, that's what it takes. And regardless, I had my grandmother, who I fished with from the time I was 4.5, right? When she was a little kid, my great-grandfather had the fishing fleet over in Hilo, the commercial fleet up there, right? Well, he had some money, so he built a koi pond and imported koi in from Japan to this koi pond. Gets home one day, all these koi are laid out on the ground like they're stringer. And my grandma was a little kid, and they ended up sending her to Japan for schooling from Hawaii.
She was catching
She was a little rascal. She's the one that taught me. And I fished with her up at the Sierras from the time I was 4. They had me tie my own knots at 4. But and maybe that's where I got that. But yeah, it's hilarious. But it gets in your blood.
Yeah.
Sam De La Torre says he's anticipating on the El Dorado trip, slow pitch jigging at San Nick. Can't wait. Robert Graver, good afternoon. Phil, Danny, TJ, Will, and the Friedman Adventures family. Eldo is a great boat with awesome captains and crew. Thank you so much, Robert. Ken Fish and Fool, what do you guys think? What happened to all the sand bass on the flats? Anybody care to opine on that?
Giant squid. Giant squid
Mexican
moved in.
Seiners, bluefin pins, feeding the bluefin. They can't migrate up anymore like they used to.
I was told that these guys that were wrapping the sand bass, the big. And I remember going down San Diego in June and having to go south and be following these big clouds of sand bass coming up all the way up the coast, up till they got up, out of range for us, which would be San Clemente or something, And I heard they were chunking them and feeding them to bluefin. But you know what? Who wants a bluefin tasting like a turd roll? But we can joke about that. But
but I mean, if that's what they started and it didn't work out, you still have that entire population you removed.
Exactly, you heard it.
And I think they'll come back. It's just, I think everything's in a flux right now. Like you say, you get below, Geronimo or San Martin, there's all kinds of sand bass down there. Yeah. They're everywhere. So maybe it's just a time where things got to
build back up a little bit.
There's healthy populations. Yeah. It's just it's got to push back up. They're transient fish. They move in, they move out. It's no different than the sardines and the anchovies. All of a sudden the anchovies were gone, or the sardines were gone forever. Now they're everywhere. And then the anchovies were there, and then they were gone. It's just, I think it's like the barracuda. Where'd the barracuda go? They moved somewhere. They haven't migrated back up like they have. Things have changed. Seems like we're in just a different water cycle where we don't get the push like we used to.
And it's probably a good thing, because otherwise we'd be pressuring them.
Yep.
We'd be pressuring everything. You know? So it's good to, Mother Nature has a way of
Well, it's like the albacore. The albacore was all you wanted. And what's an albacore?
Disappeared, and then they came back, and now they're gone again. And
guarantee the minute that hits the counts.
Oh, it's going to go crazy. You're going to see everybody out there. You talk about that fiberglass rod.
Absolutely
that
goes
back
nuts.
in the day, they're going to be there with the jig masters and the squidders.
And then you know what? That's all you
blowing the
need.
dust off of
For
them.
albies, that's really all you need. You know, the other stuff is kind of overkill.
And I
that
can't
we
fish
have,
my
yeah.
electric reel.
And then, you, and then, you, and
you
then what's the best part about that is then we won't have any sardines. We'll have these anchovies, and nobody will know how to cast a bait.
Yes, this is what I love.
They will all look like, how do you cast these?
I love that.
Underhandedly, very softly.
See, yeah, that's going to separate the men from the
Yes,
boys.
yes.
Right
You'll
there.
then find out who knows how to fish.
Exactly.
All right, man. I got to say, boys, this is one heck of a great show tonight. You guys are doing great. Ton of questions, lots of people watching. Calico Chris says it's all about the bite and a good time. I go surf fishing to rock fishing to lobster at night. The variety nowadays is where it's at. The combo trips are a hit right now. He just loves being out on the water, and I think a lot of fishermen are that way.
Yes.
We just put on a surf fishing
I saw
tournament.
that.
We had like 100 people show up.
Whew.
We caught pretty much nothing. And every single person that I talked to, and I could feel it, had a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
that's
it's about
awesome.
the people, the crew of the El Dorado. It's about all of that.
Being in the fresh air.
Yeah.
Well, come on, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Catching fish is always, for me, has always been the bonus.
100%.
You know, it's your day off. You know, you want to go out and you want to enjoy yourself. You know, and have a good time. So, you know, the atmosphere and control what you can control. You know, the cleanliness, the atmosphere. You know, do the heads smell? Does the boat smell? Is the crew professional? You know, or is anybody having a bad day and airing dirty laundry? No, you're here to have a good time. Turn the radio on. You know, drink a beer, have a breakfast burrito, and, you know, go out and soak a bait.
There's guys I've
You know?
never seen. We've had trips where people have never come out of the galley. They're having a great time. They're
Yeah.
just there. They're
Or they
like,
sit,
good.
yeah, they sit in the tackle area and just BS with everybody, have a cup of coffee, drink a beer, you know, and maybe walk out to the rail to soak a bait. But you know, there's guys that just want to be on the water.
Yeah, 100%. Noriega Gus says, any luck on the jig strike? I think he's asking, he's concerned about the report on what happened to the jig strike. You know, the boat that sank on Cortez, or wherever it was, Cortez or
Cortez.
Tanner. Anybody know anything about that?
It sank.
Yeah, I know.
Who was that? Was that
Nobody was hurt. Nobody was injured.
Right.
Yeah, nobody was
remember?
injured. Everybody
No
got
loss
off the boat.
alive.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know,
You know?
Don't know the official report. You know, there's lots of you know, speculation and stories going around. You know, it's like it hit something under the water. You know, it was anchored and it broke apart. I mean, you know, there is no official report out from the USCG. You know, all I can say about it is nobody was hurt.
Thank God.
Nobody was
Oh,
hurt.
that's the best part.
You know, everybody was rescued. You know, the I forget which boat picked everybody up, but they picked them up. The Legend. Legend picked everybody up. You know, canceled their trip immediately, headed back into San Diego. You know, kudos to those guys. You know,
Good stuff. All right, sounds good. Hit that like button, everybody. Ton of people watching, and you guys have almost zipped through an hour already. And
Woo.
darn, I got to be over. This could go on for 3 hours. We're gonna have to do this again really soon, but we're still going. Don't go anywhere. You guys. You're not allowed to leave. Richie Rich, if I could choose, I would be fishing at King Harbor like the old days on rental skiffs, catching 5 to 7 pound bonita. Did you guys do that?
4-pound
I certainly
test
did.
with
Yeah.
my trout rod,
But
Mitchell
you know what's
300.
different though is they don't have the warm water outflow at the King Harbor anymore. They don't have the
Oh, the
electrical-
bubble hole and
You know, the electric
We had the
generation
bubble
there,
hole.
it's like the San Gabriel River doesn't have the warm water. You had the bonita that ran up the riverbed there. You had the bonita in King Harbor. It was warm water outputs that pulled everything in there and they all sucked in, and now it's not there. You don't have them congregate like they used to.
That was awesome.
Oh, it was fun. I mean, it's like that striped bass you saw on the beach that there was the only place I've ever hooked one was in that riverbed, and it died. It wasn't expected. Like a 25 pounder ran over, ate my little UFO one I was fishing, and snapped me off. And I just stood there on the rocks, dumbfounded, like, what just happened? I mean, it didn't know.
You know, I remember rowing out to the bubble hole because it was $5 and a bait sled. What was it, $1.50 for a scoop or something like that back in those days?
I fished on the Annie B
yes.
with 6-pound line and a bass rod.
Yeah, no,
because
you're
I wanted to
fishing-
go catch bonita.
I took my trout stuff. We took our
Yeah,
trout stuff
that
out
was
there.
that was
Take
Yeah.
the Billy V out to the Annie B.
Yeah, or you fished off the Belmont Pier and you got your 14 anchovies for $1 with your little ticket and
Slide them.
slide them, or
Do
you
'em slide 'em
line
down.
them and you catch some bonita, and then you'd sell your bonita to go get more bait. You know, we were 14 years old. It was something to do. You know, we
No,
had
it was
a blast.
something. It was something we were allowed to do.
Well, we were
Where are
allowed
you
to do a
going?
lot-
What are you doing?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll
yeah,
drop
we
you
were
off.
Free range, yeah. If you're dropped off, or
Well,
they didn't like us
you're not
on
going to
cars
get.
after that.
You got 65 feet, or maybe 120, if you're 130 if you go around like this. But it's a lot harder to get in trouble on that. You know,
Yeah.
than leaving us on shore.
Yes.
Plus, hell, it was good for kids.
It was good. It was
Oh,
fun.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
you're going to tell me that going like this, scrolling on TikTok, is better
Nah.
for you than being
You
out
know
on the water?
so being a kid back then,
They were good
there
times.
was so many guys in their 30s, their 40s that were out there, and being kids, they were more than willing to help us and teach us and show us things. And heaven forbid you talk to a 30 or 40-year-old guy in the park nowadays. I mean, it was, they give you their fishing pole to fish with, or help you get set up, and they just get you sucked into the whole sport. And here we are, still doing it. I mean, it was those guys like that were huge. I mean, they didn't have anything to do with us, but yet they'd watch out for us. They knew who we were. We were there every weekend. We just saw them, and they let us run amok and kind of kept us in check and made sure we were doing what we were supposed to and not being too stupid.
Well, that's because that was them when they were kids.
Yeah.
And they knew what the impact would be.
Yep.
Having that type of influence. It's you can weigh going the bad way or going the good way, and
I'm kind of glad they weighed us the
exactly
way we went.
Yep.
exactly.
Yeah, I was talking to my son Patrick today in Florida, and I was saying, the worst thing about scrolling on your phone, I've done it, I do it from time to time, I don't think it's possible to have a thought go through your head. So you can't even think. You can't come up with an idea for a new business, improve your life. You're just mindlessly. And when you start doing that 8 hours a day, as opposed to being out on the water and seeing a freaking dolphin or a whale, or trying to adjust to fish that are not biting, man, I mean, the outdoors, fishing, it's so good for the kids out there.
Yeah.
Well, and just the fact of, like, say, meeting new people.
Yeah.
I mean, you come out on a boat, you come out by yourself or with your buddy, and you get on a boat that's got 25 other people, you're going to meet other people. You're going to talk to other people. You're going to find out other people's experience. Or you're going to look over and go, hey, man, what are you fishing? Oh, where'd you get that? Oh, hey, and you're going to find out information about somebody else's tackle. And maybe you're going to try it. Maybe that person will be nice, say, here, try it. I mean, you see that every now and then from time to time. Like, oh, here, dude, go ahead and cast it. Like we were talking about the new CalStar rods, that's going to be a big thing. People are going to be like, oh, here, yeah, go ahead, throw a bait, and, see how you like it. I mean, and that's the thing that's nice about when you come on the boat, because you meet everybody that's there for the same purpose. And so with everybody having the same purpose of why they're there, it makes the environment that much more inviting. And people, you constantly see people exchanging phone numbers and meeting new friends, and the next thing you know,
Yep.
Oh,
look,
Absolutely.
here comes Will and Danny, they just met last week, but they're fishing this weekend. Here we go.
And the honest thing I can say one thing about social media, and I know you've got it. You walk up to you walk in, you go someplace, and somebody goes, I know you. I've seen a video of you. You were on this, or you did that, and man, I know you're on. I'm going to go fishing with you this year. I can't wait to go. You're like, cool. I'm like, who's that? I'm like, I have no idea.
Yeah, I know.
But you know what? They want to come out and go fishing. They see the enthusiasm that we have, and they want to jump on board and go fishing with us. If it drives them, then I'm all for it. Say your. I mean, it's
There
like
we go.
We're going to be at the PCS show.
Yeah.
Come
Well,
say
no,
hi.
hey, man, that's how
You
I make
going?
my living. So I'm
Yeah,
not trying.
you're the same way. You're
People
going.
can not scroll on their phones unless it's Friedman Adventures
There you
and
go.
the El Dorado, and then we're good.
TJ's daily updates twice a day.
TJ's right though. I never really thought of it, but you're so right about kids don't even communicate anymore. So getting out on the boat and communicating, you're just texting and scrolling, and I think like we're going backwards. In 100 years, we're all going to be grunting again.
We're
We're
gonna need
Yeah.
a new service called the Department of Fishing Education, DOFI.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
You gonna put Elon Musk in charge of it?
Heck yeah.
That's too funny. All right, let's see. We got Chris Rank says fishing has come a long way. Gear, etiquette, standards, and we're more community based than secretive. Experienced of knowledge and real anglers like you guys. Such an inspiration. I learn from you guys every single day. Thank you so much. We are more susceptible and humble no more pirates anymore, says Chris. So yeah, I remember those days.
Arr.
Man, I'll tell you a funny one about that bubble hole in Redondo. We dropped off our half-day bunch of passengers. John Dipley was running the boat. And I think we had like 3 blue perch and a Johnny Bass. 60 people. Drop them off. Got squid on the boat. Go out to the bubble hole. And those poor people are watching us wail on the yellows.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah,
I'm
they're like, why didn't we go
And
there?
you're the heroes.
it was
Oh my
awful,
God.
man. I mean, I felt bad for those people up there. It was bad. All right, boys. I'm sorry. I
We
mean,
cooked.
I would like this to keep going, but we got another show tonight. I'm going to run out here and
Sounds
jump
good.
in with TJ and Will. Guys, that was
Thank you, Phil.
one heck of a great show.
Appreciate
TJ, thank you.
My
Good luck
pleasure.
on the Eldo
Thank
this
you,
year.
thank you.
Can we do this again?
Absolutely.
Oh, of
Danny,
course.
I don't have to
course.
thank you. You always do a great
Yeah,
job.
Danny's always welcome to have us.
Will.
Nice to see you
Absolutely.
again.
When are we going to do it again? Because these people, there's a lot
Hey,
of people.
we could do a continuation next week.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, if you guys want to do
Walk
it
it
next
down.
week.
I can work I can see
We'll
what
do
I
a
can do.
make this a
Yeah.
sequel. Yeah.
You know, next time, I think the show would just be a little better if Will didn't play on his phone the first half hour. Then it'd be fantastic. I'm kidding you, man. Hey, guys, one more time. Five.
Thanks, Phil.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, folks,
Hey,
for
one more
tuning
time.
in.
El Dorado. Oh, I know what it is. LongBeachSportfishing.org. Get on the El Dorado. Thanks, everybody.
All right. See ya.